Silk. Silk is an animal fiber which is soft and lustrous. Silk is known as queen of fibers. Silk fiber is obtained from the cocoon of the silk moth. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called sericulture, or rearing of silkworms for commercial purpose is called sericulture. Silk industry began in China and was kept a closely guarded secret for hundreds of years. Later on, traders and travelers introduced silk to other countries. China leads the world in silk production. India is the second largest silk producing country in the world. Sericulture business provides employment to millions of people world over. In India, women are significantly involved in various kinds of industries related to silk production. These are rearing of silkworms, reeling of silk from cocoons, and processing of raw silk into fabrics. There are different kinds of silk which differ in quality and texture. The most common types of silk are mulberry, tussar, and muga. About 80% of the silk produced in India is mulberry silk. The mulberry silk is soft, lustrous, and elastic and can be dyed in beautiful colors. Life history of silk moth. The overall life cycle of silkworm ranges from 6 to 8 weeks. The female silk moth lays eggs. This is the beginning of the life cycle of silkworm. These eggs appear as tiny dots on mulberry leaves. A tiny caterpillar comes out when the egg hatches. These tiny caterpillars are called silkworm or larvae. Caterpillars feed on mulberry leaves and grow fast. In the larva stage or caterpillar stage, the silkworm shed their skin 4 times as they continue to eat and grow. Then the caterpillar secretes a fiber made of protein which hardens when exposed to air. The caterpillar weaves the fiber around itself by swinging its head in the figure of 8 and forms a cocoon.
In this picture, you can see that the female moth has laid its egg on the mulberry leaves at suitable temperature and under proper humidity. These eggs hatch into larvae, and these larvae are also called caterpillars or silkworms. Later on, these larvae secrete a liquid which in coming into contact with air hardens and forms the fiber which is known as silk fiber.
The size of cocoon is almost the size of a small cotton ball and is made of a single thread of silk, and that may be about 1 kilometer in length. The caterpillar takes 3 to 7 days to prepare the cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the silkworm develops into a pupa. A few weeks later, the cocoon opens and an adult moth comes out. The transformation of the pupa into a silk moth completes the life cycle of silk moth. After mating, the female moth lays eggs and thus the life cycle of silkworm begins again. It is at the cocoon state that the cocoons delivered to the factory by the farmer. After sorting of cocoon by color, size, shape and texture, the cocoon are boiled in water to unwind the silk thread. If the silkworms are allowed to mature and breathe through the cocoon, the silk would be rendered useless for commercial purpose. Silk fibers are used for weaving silk cloth. Can you imagine that the soft silk yarn is as strong as a comparable thread of steel?
In this picture, you can see that when larva starts secreting a liquid fluid which forms the silk fiber, then the larva goes on wrapping itself by the fiber which is secreted by itself, and it forms a cocoon. You can see here that it wraps this is the larva. This wraps itself with the fiber and forms a cocoon around it. Inside the cocoon, pupa is larva takes the shape of pupa. At this stage, the farmers sell this cocoon to the factory, because if this cocoon is allowed to remain as it is, then the pupa will change it into adult moth, and the adult moth will come out of the cocoon, because when the pupa is transforming itself into the adult moth, its organs are being developed, and it also secretes an enzyme which is destructive in nature, and it causes a hole in the cocoon fiber. That is, the fiber breaks at many places, which reduces the market value of the silk fiber. So at this place, at this stage, the cocoons are sold in the market, so that silk can be obtained from the cocoons by giving steam, or by keeping them in the sunlight, or by boiling the cocoons, and the silk fibers can be obtained.
From cocoon to silk. For obtaining silk, moths are reared and their cocoons are collected to get silk threads. Rearing silkworms. A female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time. The eggs are stored carefully on strips of cloth or paper and sold to silkworm farmers. The farmers keep eggs under hygienic conditions and under suitable conditions of temperature and humidity. The eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature. The eggs hatch into larvae called caterpillar or
Silkworms.
silkworms. This is done when mulberry trees bear a fresh crop of leaves. The larvae called caterpillars or silkworms eat day and night and increase enormously in size.
Here you can see that there is a picture of a place where silkworms are being reared. You can see that here a shed has been created, and these are the mulberry leaves on which you can see in the white, these are larvas. These go on eating, these larvas go on eating the mulberry leaves, and they shed their skin 4 times. They have to shed their skin because as they continuously eat day and night, their size continuously increases, but the size and the shape of their skin does not change, so they have to shed their skins. When they increase in size, ultimately they start releasing a liquid which ultimately forms fiber, which they spun around itself. From this stage, next stage comes cocoon, which is used for collecting the fiber from the silkworms.
The larvae are kept in clean bamboo trays along with freshly chopped mulberry leaves. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillars stop eating and move to a tiny chamber of bamboo in the tray to spin cocoons. Inside the cocoon, the silkworm develops into silk moth, and small racks or twigs may be provided in the trays to which cocoons get attached. The caterpillar or silkworm spins the cocoon inside which develops the silk moth.
You have been told in the previous slide that when the larva stage has come, they have started developing, then a sheet which is of plastic and has having holes in it is laid on those cocoons, on those larvas. These larvas get attached to these tiny sheets of plastic where they develop cocoons. On the other hand, another method which may be used is, these are the trays made of some wooden material, where you can see that the larva is being placed here and there. They start developing the cocoons there. You can see that here the cocoons have been formed by the larva here, and these are occupying separate place from one another. From there, when they develop the cocoons here, from here they are sold in the market, so that the relevant uh, silk fiber may be obtained from them after boiling or giving them steam or keeping them in sunlight.
Processing silk. A pile of cocoons is used for obtaining silk fibers. The cocoons are collected and kept under the sun or boiled or exposed to steam. The silk fibers separate out. The process of taking out threads or fibers from the cocoon is called reeling of the silk. Reeling is done by special machines which unwind the threads or fibers of silk from the cocoon. Silk fibers are then spun into silk threads which are woven into silk moth.
In this photograph,
Silk cloth.
you can see that the cocoons are being boiled to get silk from them. In this upper photograph, you can see that the latest machines are being used to unwind the fibers from the cocoons.
Health hazards in silk industry, respiratory disease like asthma, bronchitis, etc. are common among these workers due to inhalation of foul-smelling vapors when the cocoons are undergoing steaming, reeling, etc. Infections are caused as the workers usually dip their hands in boiling water while boiling the cocoons. Quality of wool. Thinner the fiber, the better is the wool. Fine wool has a shorter fiber length. A superior quality wool is more crimpy than an inferior wool. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.